On my first day of Austrian gymnasium, my math teacher handed me a calculator. Who is not familiar with the Ukrainian school system, you're not allowed to have one. So if you want to count something complicated in math or physics or any other subject, you either do it on your own or you don't do it at all. So frankly, I did not have a calculator. I never had one. And so I just remember sitting there just pressing all the buttons, seeing all the functions that it could do. I was just getting to know my new friend. It broke down 2 days later. I think that was universe trying to tell me that I was actually never meant to have one. But that moment, me sitting in a new environment, new classroom, figuring out something, that's when it hit me. This ain't my world. It's not. It's a completely new reality with new rules and new expectations. And my initial reaction to this was not curiosity, as some of you may think. It was rather superiority. I remember I came back home after that day and I chatted with my friends and I said, "These rules are stupid, man. These rules have not been made for normal people." Because that's what we as humans do when we encounter something we're not aware of. We completely dismiss it. And that's exactly what I did. Before Vienna, I lived in Kiev, Ukraine, for 15 years, and life there was a constant race. It was school, extracurriculars, chores, courseworks, everything stacked on top of each other. And amidst all of that, I knew two things. First thing is that if I keep going, I stay afloat. And the second thing is that if I stop, I drown. And it was just a constant race. I kept going, and I did not know where I was racing. I just knew I could not stop. When war broke out, my family decided to leave. It was not my decision. And then suddenly at 15 years old, I popped up in Vienna, Austria, a completely new environment for me. I remember on my first day then, I walked through Mariahilfer Straße, which is one of the biggest shopping streets in Vienna, and I grabbed my savings. At that time, it was 150 euros or something, and I went there to get myself a new SIM card and a weekly metro pass. And I remember seeing all of these wonderful buildings, entrances, storefronts, maybe banners in a language I could not fully understand yet. And I saw buses, routes which were unrecognizable to me. And instead of trying to interact with it and try to place myself in that new reality, I just walked in a straight line. The city felt like complementary, not something that could provide an opportunity or create real value. That's what it was. But it changed, as all things in life changed. And that changed when I started talking to people and actually realizing what opportunities are before me. And that's when I stopped asking a question of whether I belong here and started asking a question of what can I build here? Every environment is a pot. Let's put it that. It's a pot with its own nutrients and with its own constraints. Nutrients are real things that you can extract from that pot. It could be language, it could be skills, network, opportunities, you name it. Anything you personally can benefit from. And there are constraints. And oftentimes it's something you cannot fully control. It could be time, it could be place, or it could be rules that were not written by you. And in this spot, I extracted language, network, and other things, but the interesting part began when I started noticing the constraints. So at 17 years old, I was enrolled in 2 school systems at once. The first one being my Ukrainian school, where I was in my final year. I was preparing for my final exams, which is like the equivalent, let's say, of GCSE in the UK or Matura here in Poland. And I was also thinking about university entrance exams. And the second school system was Austrian Gymnasium, where I still needed 2.5 years to graduate. And I remember one day I was in my Austrian school and my teacher pulled me aside and he told me that I was performing very well, like exceptionally well in the classroom, but I did not do anything outside of it. To which I responded that I had flagged this weeks ago. I told him that I have exams coming up and I have to prioritize something. So he responded that I need to fix this. He said, fix it. So I did. I evaluated the entire situation. It took me about 30 minutes. And so I fixed it. I went to the principal's office that same day and I unenrolled myself from Austrian school. Yeah. And why did I do that? I evaluated the entire situation and there was a new reality for me. So if I stay in this pot and if I play by the rules, best case scenario, I will graduate with my bachelor's at the age of 22, maybe 23 if I take my time. But if I bend the rules a bit or try a riskier path, I can be done with it by the age of 20. And that's the exact path I decided to pursue. So after unenrolling myself, I went to Warsaw literally the next day, the city where I'm standing here today. And I just sat down and decided to make a whole new plan. How am I going to manage university entrance exams? How am I going to manage other tasks in the background? How am I going to do all of this? It took me about a week. And so I came back to Vienna with a whole new plan and I stuck to it. And surprise, surprise, it worked. It worked just as I had planned. Some people questioned it. Some people were not sure. Some people told me that my path was very risky, but I quite frankly did not have any time to listen to that. So once you start picturing every environment as a pot, you face a very simple decision. It's simple on the surface. You either use the resource that you get from the spot to root in the spot and stay here, or you use that resource to go elsewhere, to a more desired pot. So let's say I anchor in Austria for family life, because after extensive research, Austria is really one of the best countries to live in. But career-wise, I would like to bridge and to a country like, let's say, Germany, Switzerland, or even the UK. So what I'm doing is I'm using the pot, Austria, as a foundation. I'm gaining everything I can gain there so that I could use this resource to bridge to, I don't know, Munich, Zurich, or even London. And another thing that I want you also to know is that you can do both at the same time. You don't have to choose one or the other, because this is not a choice you only make once or twice in your life. You make it nearly every single day. And you can, let's say, anchor, like you can root down in your relationship, and you can bridge in your career. Let's say maybe you want to root down in a particular city, like you like the geographical location, you want to stay here, but let's say you want to change your major, right? We can do both things at the same time. And no matter what pot you're in, it could be a pot that doesn't even exist yet. It could be a career. It could be a study path that has not been invented yet. Doesn't matter where you are. You'll still need the skills of being able to recognize what's in there for you and how you can use it. Because a lot of people do not do that. They enter the pot, maybe not willingly, but it doesn't matter. They play by the rules, they do not try and personalize it, and as a result, they stay in that bot for way too long and then wonder why nothing's changing. I want you guys to understand that every single one of you is in a bot. Like, I see you looking at me straight into my eyes. You are also in a bot. Doesn't matter like what it is. It could be your school, your university, your community of people, your work, your country. Everything is a bot. Your situation is a bot. And what I would like you guys to do is I would like you guys to assess it. What are the skills that you can extract? What's the access like? What are the opportunities that you personally are interested in? And also, I would like you to think about the consequences of you staying in that bot, let's say, for too long. Or what are the constraints of that bot? What are the limits that are holding you? Think about that. When I was 15, I walked in a straight line because I did not know what to do and how to interact with my bot. The city felt like a backdrop. And here I am, now in Warsaw, standing on the red dot, showing you how this backdrop became one of most significant things that happened to me. I want you guys to remember one thing as well, is you do not become a part of a community. Community becomes a part of you only if you decide what's in there for you and what to extract. And if you don't do that, it will decide for you. Thank you.